I'm Lisa, and after tons of requests I'm going to show you how to make my pom-pom pens. So what we need for this is you'll need a monster loom. We need to use 4 pegs on it. If you don't have one of those, pull the middle bar out of a rainbow loom and use the 4 pegs on there. You'll also need a pen, a hook, some scissors, and for the bead work I recommend having a very thin hook that your bead will fit onto. It makes it a lot easier. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is the cover for the pen. So what we need for that is the monster loom. Now start off with 4 bands. The first ones are going to be in a figure of 8 to each of the pegs, just like that. So now you'll have something that looks like that. Push it down and we're going to put a second layer on. The second layer and every layer thereafter will only be like that from now on. It's only the first layer that has to be done like a figure of 8. So that's what we've got now. You want to bring the bottom 2 over the top 2. Just like that. So push it all down and do the next layer now. It's exactly the same as before. And same as before, bringing the bottom 2 over the top 2. I'll do this a few more times with you because this is pretty repetitive. So once you've got the hang of it, it's just a matter of doing heaps of it. So I'll grab another lot of bands, exactly the same as before. And bring the bottom over the top. Now at this point I highly recommend that you put your pen in and do it around the pen, because if you wait till the end it can be quite tight and a real pain in the butt trying to get the pen inside. So at this point just put the pen straight down the middle and push it through a bit. And get your next lot of bands, and it's exactly the same now, except the only difference is you've got a pen sticking out of the middle of it. So I'll show you this last one. So you've got your 2, take the bottom over the top. So at this point pause me and keep going until the entire pen is covered, and when you get back I will show you what to do next. So at this point you'll have something that looks like that. The whole pen's covered, you can just see the top of it sticking out of here. So now we're ready to make the pom-pom. The pom-pom is actually not all one pom-pom. It's 2 pom-poms joined together, and each of the 2 pom-poms are made up of 4 to 6 of these. And what these are is they're 2 loom bands tied together. One of the loops goes over 2 hooks and the other one hangs down, which is what makes the pom-pom. Now each of these has around about 8 to 10 bands high on it. So I'm going to show you how to do it on the last one, and then I'll let you pause me and you can keep going. So here we have 2 bands. Put one over the other, pull the bottom one through and around itself and tie it. So that there. Now they might be a little bit rolled up on themselves, so just unroll them a bit. That there is the first one, and it just goes over 2 hooks. So there you have it like that. That's the start of it. Now, at this point, this next one is going to be a beaded one. So, get your 2 bands, put the bottom one through the top one, back through itself, and just unroll it to make sure that it's not curling up on itself. Now at this point, I'm going to put a bead on. So put a bead onto your hook and thread it down onto it. So you've got something like that. Now at this point, I recommend pulling this down the hook and bringing the other end up and over. So you've got it hanging around in midair like that. Then bring this end one over the first hook and just over the end. Grab your bead and go like that. And then when you get down to the end, if you rock it backwards and forwards, sort of seesaw it, it tightens it up around the bead. And that there is how you make the beaded part. So put it over like that. And the next one, this is a normal one. Tie them together again and put it on the 2 pegs. And next one, tie them together just like that. This one is going to have a bead on it, so just like before, pull it down, push it down, bring the other end up and over so it's hanging around, grab this end, take it over that one and just over the end of the hook, grab your bead, tighten the band up, and then when you get to the end, so as not to put too much pressure on the loom band, just sort of rock it backwards and forwards so it tightens up. And that is another one. Now at this point we've done 4, so we've got another 4 to go. So at this point, tie the 2 together like that, put it on. The next one will be a beaded one, so tie them together, roll them, just make sure they're not curling up on themselves. Grab the bead on the hook, pull the bead down onto that, push it down, bring this one over so it hangs around, bring this end over the end of the hook, grab a hold of your bead and pull it, and rock it backwards and forwards so it tightens up around the bead. 2 more to go. This is a normal one, so these will just be tied together. Just see how they're curling up on themselves, sort of just roll it so it stops doing that, and put it over the 2 pegs. And then finally the last one will be a beaded one. So we've got 2 bands, tie them together like that, unroll them so they're not curling up on themselves, grab bead on the hook, pull it down, push the band down like that, bring this one up and over so it's hanging around, bring it just over the end of the hook, and then grab a hold of the bead and pull it. So that there is now one part of the pom-pom. So now you just need to make up another 4 to 6 of those, and when you've done that, I'll show you what to do next. So at this point you'll have 4 to 6 of these and you're ready to make the pom-pom. So what we need to do now is you need to get your hook and you need to put it between 2 of the pegs that have got the bands on it, sort of push it up so it lifts all the bands up. Put your thumb on those bands and then just gently take these off the hook. Like that, we left one behind. And just pull them down and move them up a little bit. I'm going to do that with the next one or two, depending on how many you're putting on. There's another lot. And final one. Put the others aside for now. This is 1/2 of your pom-pom. Now at this point, grab a hold of it between your thumb and forefinger, so you've got all the dangly bits there, and get a loom band that's completely different coloured to what you're using. At this stage, I want you to put it around these, like that, and then once more. This just helps keep them together and in control, and I want you to pull it down because we need to have a bit of slack up here. So they're all in control now. So at this point, I want you to grab 2 bands of the next colour. So my next colour here is going to be the pink one. So grab 2 loom bands, put them on the end of the hook, and you need to move all of this onto the 2 bands. So whichever way is easiest to do that. So now I've got one end on the hook, one end on my finger, and they're all there. Push this up the hook and put your thumb on it so it can't move, and then take the 2 off your finger. So now you've got all of those attached to these 2. Now in that same colour, I want you to grab 4 bands, and we're basically going to do the same again. We need to transfer these onto the 4 bands. So put the bands on the end of your hook, pull these over. So now you'll see that I have they're now sitting on the 4. Push this down, put your thumb over it again so it stays put, and grab the ones off your finger. Now at this point, you want to grab these 4 at the end, and you want to pull them up over these first 4 and just over the end of the hook. Grab a hold of that now, and you want to pull it down so that it ties a knot up right down near the pom-pom. So, and then you can take this off. So what you've got now is the pom-pom, and you've got 4 of these, and this is what's going to help attach it to your pen. So now we need to repeat that process over again. Stick your hook in between it, the 2 pegs, put your thumb on the loom bands and pull them off and push them down. Do the same for the next 1 or 2, depending on how many you're going to have. So there's it again, and again. So this is the other half of the pom-pom. Want you to do the same thing with the loom band. Get one that's a completely different colour. Grab all of these together and put the loom band twice around it to keep them in control. Makes it a lot easier. And at this point, just pull it down so that there's some slack up around here for when we're working up here. I want you to grab 2 bands in the next colour that's on your pen, the same one as you used before. You need to transfer this onto that. So pull it down. Make sure you don't catch up any of the... So pull this down the hook, thumb on it so it doesn't move, and get the bits off your finger. Now you need to grab 4 of the bands. Put them together. Put them on the end of your hook and move all of this down onto those 4 bands. So there you have it. Pull this down, thumb over it so it doesn't move, grab the 4 off your finger. At this point, grab these end 4, pull them over the end of the hook, and then take a hold of this and pull it down so it goes all the way down and ties a knot up just near the pom-pom. Right, now that we've got that, we're ready to attach it. Now you'll notice there is 2 bands around all of these. This is going to help attach these on. So what I want you to do is separate this now into 2 lots on each finger. You're going to sit the pom-pom on the edge like that, and you need to bring 2 of the bands down over 2 pegs like that, and 2 of the others on the other side. So you'll have something that looks like that. So your pom-poms on there, and then its bands are going down over 4 pegs. At this point, you need to flip it and do the same on the other side. So get your thing, separate it, so you've got 2 bands in each finger, sit the pom-pom on the edge, bring down 2 of the bands on one side and 2 of the bands on the other side. So now you'll have 4 bands going around here, and you'll have a pom-pom on either side. Now at this stage, sort of wiggle them into the middle because you want them sort of together in the middle. Now at this stage, I want you to bring these bottom 2 up over these top 4. Be careful when you're doing this so it doesn't pop off. Put your thumb in where the pom-pom is in the middle. It'll help stop these top 4 from popping off. So bring these bottom 2 over the top 4 that are attached to your pom-pom. So now you've got the 4 bands on there that are attached to your pom-pom. Now we need one more layer to finish off. We can't finish off using those ones. So get your next colour, which for me is the purple colour. And we need to do 4 around, just like you did for the pen cover. The only difference this time is you need to make sure you take notice of which direction you go in. So clockwise or counterclockwise, because when you finish this, you need to go in the opposite direction of what you laid them. So I'm going to go clockwise just because that's naturally the way I do it. So push the pom-poms to one side so that you can put these bands on. It's exactly like you did for the pen cover, except now there's 2 pom-poms sitting in the middle. So at this point, you'll see you've got the bands going around just like you did. Now we need to bring these 4 up over these 2. So this is where it can get a little tricky. The 4 want to pull the 2 off. Best way to go is stick your finger on one side of these 2 and then on the other side, so you sort of got it stopping from popping off. So at this point, it's a matter of grabbing those 4 and bringing them up over those 2 in any way that feels comfortable for you. Okay, so at this stage now, we have 2 bands on there and the pom-pom ones have been built into the pen. This is where we finish off. Now it's very, very important that you remember which way you put them on, and I went clockwise, so I'm going to be going anti-clockwise. At this point, you have 2 bands on each peg. You need to slide your hook underneath that first one. See if I can get it so I can show you on camera. Slide your hook underneath that first one, grab the bottom one, pull it through, up and over the peg, and you need to take it across to the next peg. So now that peg has 3 bands on it. you need to slide your hook under the first band, under the second band, grab that bottom one, pull it out and up, and put it onto the next peg. So now this next peg has 3, so I'll be going in underneath the first, underneath the second, grabbing the bottom, pulling it out, up, moving the pom-poms to one side and taking it over to the next hook. And this will be the final hook now. So you can see, slide it under the first, under the second, grab the third, pull it out, up and over the pegs, and put it onto this one. Now at this point, you need to remember this peg, so leave your hook in it so you know which one it is, and grab a band the same colour as this. Turn your hook around so it's facing the front, like that. Grab your loom band and put it on the hook, like that. You can see I've got my finger down here, so I'm putting some tension on it. Turn your hook around, pull it through. So now these 2 bands here are on this. Just like before, move this one down the hook and put the other one on. So now these 2 bands are through this band which is on the hook, and we want to tie a knot. So take this end one over, take it over the end of the hook, let it go and pull it tight. So now this here is secured. These 2 bands are secured, so it's not going to come undone now. So at this point you can take your hook out and you can slide off all of these bands and remove this from the monster loom through our finishing steps. So slide this out. Now if you have a look around the top here, you'll notice that you've got these bands which are sort of sticking up like this. We're going to use those. So what I want you to do is stick your hook through one of these bands that's sort of sticking up. So there it is there, like that. I want you to grab a hold of this one that you used to tie the knot on those 2 bands, put it on the end of the hook and pull it through that looped band. Roll it over, find the next one, stick your hook through it, grab a hold of this one and pull it through. Roll it over again, find the next loop, stick your hook through it, grab a hold of that band that you used to tie off and pull it through. Now roll it over. This is where we've gotten back to the start and there won't be a loose loop here. So just find a band where you can stick your hook through. So I'm going to just stick it through here, grab a hold of this and pull it through. Now at this stage, I've got this happening now. So what I want you to do is put your middle, index and thumb through here, and I want you to take both parts of your pom-pom through. So there goes one half, pushing the other half through and putting it down like that. That is completely safe now. That's not going to go anywhere. Now at this point you can cut off your 2 bands, or you can pull them off, whatever works for you. I'm just going to be lazy and cut it. Cut the other band that was holding the pom-poms together. Give it a shake so all those band bits fall out, and there we have the pom-pom. Now you've got a decision to make as to whether you leave these loops as they are or whether you cut them and you have sort of the little pom-pom bits. So it's completely up to you which way you go, but I'll trim them so I can show you how it's done. So basically it's a matter of going through and finding all the bands that didn't have a bead on the end of it and just cutting them. Remember, look twice, cut once. So there's another one. There's another one. So it's just a matter of going through, and this sort of gives your pom-pom that sort of furry, tassely look. And this is now your completed pom-pom pen. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Please like it and share it. And thank you very much for watching. Bye.